Welcome back to Area DMG. I'm your host, Will Wesley, the Mile High Mouth, and today we're going to be talking about Serenity Forge is game Four-Sided Fantasy. Now, we did not support the Four-Sided Fantasy Kickstarter. I think we linked to it once on Twitter or so, but overall we did not contribute any money to it. This game was provided for us on Steam for free, and I'm doing the review off of the review copy they gave us. This game launched on August 30th for $10, or rather $9.99 on Steam and PlayStation Network for the PlayStation 4 from Serenity Forge. Now, since this is a GameWorthy review, since this is not on a portable like the Vita or the 3DS, although it totally could be on the new 3DS since it's made with Unity 3D, which the new 3DS and the Wii U both support, we will not have a text version of this review. So this video is it. Also, this is a GameWorthy review, and GameWorthy reviews are talking. A lot of talking about a game. We don't show game footage, we don't play the game music, and we may show screenshots, but for the most part, we want to tell you about the game and why you should or should not spend your hard-earned money on this particular game. Well, Four-Sided Fantasy is an quote independent, or rather small studio, third-party game for the PC and the PlayStation 4, and let me explain a little bit about the concept behind it. Well, I'll just grab these Futurama things. Let's say for a moment that this is your first screen, right? And as you scroll along, you get into the second screen. Let's pretend that your average game, or rather average Mario or side-scroller game, you're moving along this way, right? Now let's pretend for a moment that there's like a wall right here. Oh no, I can't get past this wall. How do I do this? In this game, you can freeze your frame and be like, oh, I can't get past this wall. Freeze the frame. I'm going to go back the other way, and like Pac-Man or Defender or whatnot, you end up on the other side of that wall from the other side. This works all ways. Like you can freeze the frame and jump up, and you'll end up down here. Go left to go right, that type of thing, right? Now, right. One thing they also do with this particular game is there's two characters. You start out as the female character, then you rescue the male character within the first couple of screens or so. There's really no storyline to this other than kind of a fill your own imagination in it, which there was a Kickstarter for this where they promised lots of emotional journeys with these characters, and they did not currently deliver on that, or the dogs or whatnot, or hats. So I feel that this game isn't completely done yet. There are a lot of achievements and trophies, and some of those have to do with how many times you freeze the screen. Oh, in some levels, like let's pretend for a moment, in some levels when you're freezing that screen, you'll have to use that screen thing to pick up like keys to get past areas, or a really good one is when there's a level where the male character his gravity's on this side, and then when you freeze it and switch and like jump through the screen, you'll switch to a female character that's literally has different gravity, or is on the foreground and background of that, or stuff will be on the foreground and background, or the there's one level where it splits it in half, and then one side moves and the other side stays still. It's got a lot of little interesting quirks to it that make it similar to, say, Mighty Switch Force or VVVVVV. It's VVVVVV, 6 V's, or Antipole, or Windy Every Which Way, or like I mentioned before with Mighty Switch Force, or Mighty Flip Champs, or there's just a few of those things there. It's a neat little gimmick, and as you go through these little levels, each of these levels has kind of a theme that has to do with the seasons, and you pretty much go through, quote, a year in this game. There's no real story to speak of other than what you create with your own imagination. Yeah. And that's okay. The game feels incomplete at points, I was playing it with a keyboard instead of an actual controller, because you really only need like your jumping button and then your freezing button, where you stop the frame and move in or out of it, which is a pretty good gimmick. When I first tried playing through this game, I sat down and was like, well, let's see how long this takes me to complete it. I completed the game the first time in under 2 hours. And that's because I'm actually pretty good at games. I can beat Super Metroid in under an hour. I can beat certain other like Castlevania games completely missing whole sections of armor or not leveling up or not collecting things. I'm pretty good at these. I've got all sorts of little records on, say, Mighty Switch Force or Mutant Muds or Mutant Mud Super Deluxe. Super Challenge, sorry. But, yeah, this game, kind of easy. Even using the keyboard and the keyboard, spacebar will jump, control will freeze. Or you can set some of these aside. Like, you can figure out, I think, I'm trying to remember if you can reconfigure the controls, because I really didn't go through that and mess with the reconfiguration. Instead, I just went through the entire game and then unlocked the quote level select and new game plus thing, and I thought it was okay. I thought it was a fun distraction, very short. I would say minimum wage in the United States is about what, $7 an hour? After tax is more like $5 an hour. So this is essentially about 2 hours worth of work for 2 hours worth of game. There's achievements and trophies, so there's a little bit of a replay value to it. And let's be honest, it feels incomplete. So I'm hoping that there's more content coming out for this later, like an actual story mode, the little dogs that they showed at the Kickstarter, or the little hats they showed in the Kickstarter stuff, or something. Overall, I feel that this is not a complete game, but I do think it's worth your time. If you're a person who's a bit sensitive about your money, note that you will probably beat this game in under 3 hours or so. Maybe you'll get 3 to 4 hours of play out of this. If you're like me, you got less than 2 hours to play through it because ridiculousness. I'm like, oh, okay. I know how I have played through all these other games with a similar puzzle mechanic, so I was pretty prepared for this. In fact, there's a couple parts there where I'm like, I wish there's more you could do here, because there's like a little technique that you can do. Let me explain this technique actually. I figured this out when going through this. Let's say you're falling off screen, right? Let's say you're falling off the screen and you keep falling off the screen. When you hit about here, you can recapture the screen again by pushing your finger off control and then pressing it again quickly, and the camera will recenter to where your character is. So you can keep going down and get yourself a little off center, split, off center, split, off center, etc. And I was using that to climb through and break a lot of the puzzles. So right off the bat, I may not have been playing it exactly how I should have been, and I found that a lot of this stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm up in this wall, I bet I need to, okay, click, 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 boom, done. I was kind of finishing stuff up really quickly. This would be a great game for speedrunners, because once you play through it a few times, you may be able to knock this out in under an hour. Maybe under 30 minutes, I don't know yet. I kind of wish it had an on-screen time, because I was looking at that, I was like, interesting. It does keep track of how many times you hit the control button, and that was something they kind of added after the launch, because when I was going through it the first time, I didn't unlock any of the achievements. I was seeing some of these listed, but they weren't unlocking, which that seemed a little off. But as I start going through it here, I'm going to start unlocking a few of these. Overall, I was just like, this is a fun game. I feel that it might be benefited playing it with an actual controller than using the keyboard. If you're a fan of games like VVVVVV, or Braid, or Antipole, or Mighty Switch Force, Mighty Flip Champs, or Windy Every Which Way, or any number of these games where you've got a side-scrolling puzzle mechanic to it, you might like Four-Sided Fantasy. I liked it. I just feel it's kind of short. Now, I feel that had I paid $10 for this on, say, the PlayStation 4 or whatnot, I'd feel I got my money's worth. On the PC, it's okay. You may want to wait for a sale if you're unsure about it. My suggestion is, since we don't do video clips or audio clips in here, we're trying to show you a little bit about this game or tell you a little bit about this game. We prefer to tell, not show, because that's kind of a little lazy. A lot of reviews are like, look at this game footage. That's that. Yep. And then they get this wrapped up quickly. Here, I'm trying to describe it to you, because I want you to know what I think about the game without being prejudiced by looking at the game. Now, the graphics are pretty good. I like the art style in this. It's pretty good. If you're considering purchasing this, you've already seen the art style. And if you don't like that art style, you're not going to like the game. If you think that art style is good, you're going to like the game. The music in the game is pretty good. A lot of it seems to be more of kind of very backgroundy, kind of atmospheric, very chill. Not a lot of thorough rhythms. I would have liked it if there was like a real difference between many of the areas. A lot of it was like, ooh, and then I just couldn't really find or latch onto anything that seemed catchy. I really liked the ending theme music. The credits music was excellent. But a lot of the other music just felt like, hey, we gotta put music in here. Oh, what do we got here? Something ethereal? Yes, we can pretend something is deeper than it actually is with ethereal music. And that's what they did here. It's good, but it's not gonna like stick to you. Overall, I feel that this is a game that needs a little bit more polish, and if you don't mind a game being under 2 hours for your money, for $10, pick this up. It's worth it. You should pick this up regardless, but if you're a little bit pickier, you may want to wait for a sale. And believe you me, there are a lot of sales on Steam and on PlayStation Plus, so there's a very good chance that, yeah, this will be on sale at some point, and the moment it's on sale, you just snap this up. It is awesome that way. It's worth that, definitely. Full price, it just depends on how sold you are on puzzle platformers. If you played all the previous puzzle platformers that I mentioned, you may want to wait for a sale on this. If you haven't, this will be a completely unique experience to you, and you will find it definitely worth the money. Overall, I thought it was good. If this came out on the Wii U or the 3DS, would I buy it? Yes. Yeah, if this came out on the new 3DS, because of the way the graphics work in that parallax, since this runs on Unity 3D, which the new 3DS supports, if they ported this to that system, I would be like, yeah, you should buy this. Especially because that parallax scrolling is just begging to be on some type of system where you can see a 3D plane of view on it. You know how the 3DS has that thing where you're looking into like a picture box? That definitely would help this game a lot. That type of 3D display. Also, an actual story mode would help, and some of the features that they kind of advertised in the Kickstarter that they have not delivered on yet. So I feel this game is not polished. It's only worth the price if you are really into puzzle platformers and you are not incredibly put off by a game that will take you, the person who's really familiar with puzzle platformers, less than 2 hours to complete. Then you should get it. If not, everyone else, you might want to wait for a sale. I think this is a solid B-, and it's a fantastic effort. I can't wait to see what else this particular group puts out. And I would love to see an expansion on this. Maybe some DLC, maybe some extra levels, maybe an actual story mode. It would be really good for speedrunners, and if you're a speedrunner, you should definitely consider picking this up, because once you've gone through it the first time, you're going to speed run through it quite a bit quicker the second time through. And you may want to record that. You might want to time yourself on that. I want to see how quickly people can beat this game. Because I have a feeling this is a game you could probably beat in 30 minutes. Yeah. And that would be a great thing for great games done quick or something like that. Overall, Four-Sided Fantasy from Serenity Forge. Good game. May not be $10 worth or $10 or more worth yet. It's a little unpolished. But I do recommend it. And I do recommend, I mean, the moment it's on sale, pick this thing up. But if you really need a good platforming fix and you're okay with something being a little short, get it now. It's worth it. Other than that, wait for a sale. I'm your host, Will Wesley, the Mile High Mouth. You've been watching GameWorthy. And if you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. Go ahead and like the video, share the video, subscribe to the video, and until the next video comes out, you are now caught up.